Hello everyone. Today we are on another session from AI in Trades. Today I am with TJ Laury from Ben's ProServ. Welcome TJ.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, TJ is using AI every day and he's actually also thinking that this industry is AI proof. So we will talk about those things. So can you tell about yourself and your story, how you get into this business and industry?
Sure, yeah. My name's TJ. I grew up in the trade. My great grandfather actually started a family business with my grandfather back in the 1940s. They sold heating oil.
Wow.
And yeah, as things kind of started to progress, my grandfather thought it would be a good idea to start installing systems, furnaces, and then eventually air conditioning was the new thing. And he was
Mm.
one of the first people in southern New Jersey to jump on air conditioning, particularly Carrier air conditioning. And we've been with Carrier ever since. In 2016, my father, my brother-in-law, and myself split off of our family business that my great grandfather and grandfather started. And we started our own business doing the same thing called Ben's ProServ. But yeah, growing up with a family business in the trades, as a little kid, you always look at it and you think, "Oh man, that's so cool. What my dad does. I want to do that someday." So I couldn't wait to get out there and to try it out. So started out in the field at like 15, 16 years old, just learning with the guys. Worked every summer, every winter, every break that I had, just learning and catching on to things. So I did step away for a few years just to try my own thing, kind of go out and spread my wings for a little bit. But ultimately, when we decided to split off of our other family business and start Ben's ProServ, the writing was on the wall that it was probably time to come back and help those guys get started. So came back to work with my father and brother-in-law, and then about just under 2 years ago, so I'm coming up on my 2 year anniversary. My father decided he wanted to retire for the most part, so he still comes in and does some sales and consulting, but we say, if he was 100% in, he's about 10% in now. Around that time, my brother-in-law came to me and said, "Hey, listen, I really love sales. I think I just want to do that." And I took over my father's position and became the president. So been just about 2 years now. So it's been a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of learning. Never ran
Yeah.
business before, so here we are.
Yeah, it's exciting to just run a business as a founder of my own business. So it's actually very challenging, but also, yeah, very satisfactory.
It's
And
yeah, very challenging, but yeah, but very fulfilling and feels really good to know that because you helped start a business that other people can support their families.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, you also become their family too.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, yeah.
yeah, and you also use this business to grow with acquisition. So you had a
hmm
strategy to acquire business almost every year. How did it turn out? Was it messy for you to
Super
manage that?
messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad always says, because our family business that we left was pretty big, it was about 50 people. So when we started Ben's ProServe, it was only a few of us. And my dad always says, I didn't know how to run a small business. I knew how to run a medium-sized business. He always wanted to get back to being a similar size that he was before. So our model was growth by acquisition. For the first few years, when our family bought us out, we took that money and we started buying other small companies and just bringing them into the mix, right? So the Ben's ProServe family of businesses, if you will. So yeah, it was a bit messy. The smaller ones were not too bad. Those were when they came with one or two guys and a couple of trucks, really not that big of a deal. But a couple of other businesses came with six, seven, eight, nine, 10 team
Yeah.
members, some office staff, new location. That's when things got really tough. So yeah, it's been a lot of learning of how to keep everybody, especially having two locations. You have two locations, but you have to be one business. So that's been interesting for sure. But I feel like we're finally there.
Yeah, besides the operations and the complex stuff, other things, I think it's also a culture problem. So every company has its own
For sure.
culture coming from its founders and initial members. So it's also hard for the newcomers to adapt because you want to just have your own culture, but it's also, I think, evolving when you're growing. How did you handle those things?
We got really lucky because we inherited a lot of good team members. Most of the guys that we've taken, or most of the companies that we took on, most of those guys still work for us. So That was really lucky. We really didn't go through too much of a transition with field workers. A little bit in the office, but at the same time of going through where you're buying businesses, we were also going through a transition from our founder to me. So there's always going to be a culture shift whenever you switch over to a new leader. Yeah, it had its fair share of difficulties, that's for sure. And there's things that I learned that I liked about how maybe one of our new locations was operating that I wanted to bring into our main location, or vice versa, or things that I was learning outside, completely outside of the organization that I liked that I wanted to bring in. So it's been a lot of transition for our guys, but our team has been very flexible, which I'm very grateful for. So I think that's key because people are typically creatures of habit. So if your team's not flexible, it's never going to work when you're trying to do some culture changing. But at the end of the day, it's a weird thing to say sometimes, but you have to get on the level and say, okay, this is my company. So that means I'm in charge of the culture. So you have to get on board with that, right? So as an employee, you have to get on board with that. And if you can't, then unfortunately, you're going to have to find somewhere to work. It's weird because part of me feels like, is that entitled? Is that arrogant for me to say? But if you can't get to that level, it's never going to work. So in your mind, you have to be okay with the fact that saying, no, this is mine. I'm making the call here, and my team's got to get on board with me, as weird as it might feel.
Got it. So yeah, you were really lucky. Actually, culture shifts usually the biggest problem on the acquisitions. I think you're also just growing with your own money instead of getting funded by a private equity. And is this something that intentionally a decision that you made? What's the actually pros and cons using your own money or maybe some bank loans instead of bringing a private equity as a stakeholder?
Yeah, the pro is definitely that we don't have to answer to anybody, right? Like, besides the bank, if they want to call your loan, but we don't have anybody to answer to. We don't have shareholders to answer to. So it's our business. We're 100%
Mm.
owners. So that's definitely the pro. The con is that it's our money or the bank's money. So either you're making a large investment, and some of it has just been our money that we're investing, just cash straight out of our bank account. And then some of it's been with bank loans too. So the bigger ones that we've rolled into bank loans, the smaller ones we've just paid cash for. It's difficult because it's hard to project how much extra the operational costs of buying a company are going to be, right? So you do your
Mm.
best, you look at all the financials, but it's hard to predict what kind of year you're going to have. As best you can do, you try to come up with a number, but for us, when we bought the biggest company, there was a lot of things that we just didn't take into account, to be perfectly honest. So we dropped a big number to purchase the company, and then it costs us an extra third of our expenses that we were already paying to run the company. So we just didn't consider how much and then how much time on top of that. But obviously, we're talking finances here. So, yeah, when you're using your own money, you have to try to factor all that stuff in, and it can be difficult to do. If we were private equity backed, where
Mm.
it's private equity's money, it's the operational costs and the cost to purchase the company aren't yours. Your
Mhm.
bank account doesn't take too much of a hit. When you have to get a big loan, you start your loan payments before you even make $1 a month. You're paying the bank back. So
Yes.
that's the first thing that happens every month is the bank gets their money and then we have to make our money.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's pros and cons to both for sure. For me, I think the reason why you start a business is because you don't want to answer to somebody. So,
Got it.
like we were saying before, you get to that level where you're like, this is mine, I'm setting the culture. If I would have had to, if I were, we would have taken private equity money, we would have had to answer to shareholders. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest pro. And if I was going to do it all over again, I would still use my own money, even though it's been
That's a good point.
years. Yeah, it's been years to continue to pay off these debts. However, at the end of the day, I'm my boss. Yeah,
So you are now actually not acquiring new companies, so more focused on the efficiency and profitability.
yeah.
And how does AI help you in that efficiency?
Man, AI helps a ton. Just today, I'm using it for everything. And it's helped me streamline my team. So maybe not as many people where there used to be like the office I'm sitting in right now. This used to be full of people. We're
Mm.
getting the same amount of production with half the staff, I would say, versus
Oh,
4 or 5 years ago. You can see ways to where you could still cut down even more. The conversation then kind of shifts to how important are the people? How important is that human interaction with the customers? But so far, we've been able to streamline so much. And I feel like I'm able to be more invested in my meetings with my team
Mm.
because AI will sit and record my meeting and then it'll give me all of my action items after the meeting, and I can send all of those, and I can specify which goes to who, what person, and these
Mm.
things that we talk about in our meetings. I now have a whole list that just spits out for me in minutes, where before I would be trying to take notes. I would, if I had a moment where I got invested in my conversation in the meeting, I might forget to take a note down, and then I'd have to go back and I'd have to remember, what did that person say when we were talking about this? Now nothing is forgotten. So I feel like we've been
Yeah.
able to become so much more efficient that way, and just using chat features, asking questions, draft me an email. Like today on my way into the office, I'm talking to my AI and I'm saying, hey, draft me an email to send to this person so that I don't have to do that when I get into the office in the morning. So there's 10 other things that I can jump on that could even be revenue producing, that bring in more money to the company versus sitting here and drafting a busy work email. So man, I'm using it for everything. I'm just trying to keep in my mind the people importance factor at the same time.
Yeah, for everyday use, are you involved for every interaction with the AI, or are you using something more autonomous? Where is the line for you? How much are you trusting AI to just
Yeah.
make things fully autonomous, or how much you want to be get involved and just check what AI is doing?
Yeah, so I'm not doing anything autonomous yet. Everything is like I prompt it, right? So everything is like I got to
Mm.
turn an app on and hit record. I have to ask it to draft an email. I have to tell it to set me a reminder or something. So I'm using it more like an assistant. I haven't quite jumped over that to, have it
Mm.
start doing things in the background without me asking it to. If I get there, who knows? I don't know when and if I
Mm.
even will. But yeah, right now I like to keep it to let me just treat it as I would my personal assistant and give it a list of tasks to handle for me. So yeah, we are signed up for Service Titan's AI voice agent. I haven't yet started it just because I signed up in the beginning of the summer, got busy, and I had to put it on the back burner. But I will
Mm.
be very soon here rolling that out. And I would say that's probably, as far as autonomous goes, that's probably my first step into that
Mm.
zone, because it doesn't just answer the phone call, it will schedule calls for you. But it's coming. I know you can set like Claude up to do background tasks on your
Yes.
computer for you. I don't know when I'm going to get there or if I'm going to get there, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe later because they're also getting better and better. So much money is being invested in this.
At this point it still lies to me every now and then, so I don't know if I quite trust it, but yeah.
Yeah. And so as a heavy AI user, I am sure that you try many AI tools.
Mhm.
So I think I know you have a favorite, but can you tell about your experiences about those AI tools and which one is best for you and why you actually love it?
Yeah, so I have tried pretty much every single one. I started with ChatGPT. I went and tried the X one just because Elon's always in the news. So you're like, let me see what he's got out. So that one's called Grok. Tried that one. I tried Copilot just because it comes with all of our Microsoft stuff that we pay for now. So tried
Mm.
that one for a while. And then I eventually came to Claude. The reason I picked Claude was because I felt like each one was kind of lacking in some areas, especially for what I use it for business and the different things I wanted to use it for. So I just did some research and just tried to figure out, all right, here's the 5 things that I want to use it for. And everything was kicking back to me that Claude was the way to go. What I really love about Claude is the integrations that it has. So it works really well with other apps. I don't think there's an app that I've tried that it doesn't work with. Like I said, it can write and send emails in Microsoft. It can schedule calendar events in Microsoft. It can schedule calendar events in your Apple Calendar. It can pretty much do everything. It can set reminders for you on your phone. The projects feature in Claude is really great too, because if I'm doing a new construction job, I can load a set of plans into Claude and I can say, hey, read all of the plans. I'm doing the plumbing on this project. I want a full scope of work that I can then hand to my guys. And then I can take Granola, which is the AI app that I use for recording, and I can go do a walkthrough with the contractor and I can say, we can go through the scope of work and then we can go through all the changes. It listens, and then it can take the scope of work that it printed,
Mm-hmm.
and now it can put the two things together, and it can change your scope of work before your team gets started so that they know exactly what their role is on this job. And then if anything gets changed by the contractor, it's now been documented. So there's just some really great features in Claude that work really well for us. And
Yeah.
I'll probably put the whole team on it at some point, at least my office
Mm.
staff.
Yeah, they have a team plan. So if you use the team plan, you also have a common company brain. So you can access the same
Yep.
data sources. So they have those kind of features.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Claude became so popular. So it also just started to get slower. Nowadays, you can also try, I think, in my opinion, Codex. So it is ChatGPT's new tool. So they also rebranded the Codex as ChatGPT Work with their new one. So the power for Claude is just it can use the tools, as you mentioned. Very
Mm-hmm.
nice because they invented the MCP very early and they actually targeted businesses. So that's why it's just working so good. Other than,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the others are catching up now. So, for example, nowadays I also use Codex. It's almost the same now. There was so much gap,
Cool.
but yeah, you can just think it as an option.
Yeah.
So you're not using the automation, fully automation. The voice agent will be your first one, and then you're going to go rolling up.
We'll see.
Yeah. So what's your plan? Are you just going to replace the people in the call center, or will you use it like a backup plan or after hours or weekends?
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? We mentioned that before. It's part of our business is the human to human touch. And I think what sets really good businesses, at least over the last 5 years before these AI agents really started to
Mm,
gain market share in the
mm,
trade, was how good you were at dealing with your customers, right? Like, how good are your CSRs? How good are they at scheduling the call, being efficient, the way they treat your customers, all that kind of stuff.
mm,
So I really do love that you can talk to a human. I do love that. I think it's something that's important. I think the way that the world is going and everything is becoming more digital, I think people are going to yearn for that human interaction more just because so much of your life and your work is becoming digital. So I think people are going to start to look for companies where you can call and a human does pick up, right? Everybody calls their credit card company and gets frustrated because every time you call your bank or your credit card company now, it's an AI agent. And it's like,
yeah.
gosh, can I just talk to a human? So, yeah. So, to answer your question, we're going to slow roll it. It's going to be very slow. So, my plan is probably start with nights after hours, then maybe move on to weekends. Because right now I have CSRs that stay on at night and CSRs
Mm,
that jump on the weekends and they just work overtime, but they don't answer the phones. It's more checking voicemails and calling customers back. Okay, if an AI agent can jump on and actually answer the call and promptly schedule one of our techs after hours, maybe that service is a little better than us checking voicemails and calling customers back. So that's a
mm,
good thing to start out with, right? So, yeah, after hours, weekdays, then we'll probably go to weekends and let them handle the whole weekend. And then I'm cutting that expense of where I'm paying somebody overtime to be checking voicemails and scheduling calls. And then we'll probably bring it in as a backup just from our
mm,
normal office hours where, hey, look, I'll still have that human interaction, but maybe we get to a point where instead of 4 CSRs, we cut it down to 2 CSRs because the
mm.
AI can pick up the overflow. There's different levels that you can set it up to where you can say, hey, you ask for a representative, it'll ring a representative. Or if the AI gets confused, a couple of my test runs that I did where if you really confuse the AI, it'll say, I think I need to get you to talk to somebody in the office.
Got it. And also, people actually call you when they're not having a great time, right? It's
True.
not.
We don't get calls for people just to say how much they love us. It's because they're having a bad day.
Yeah, so they usually look for a human voice to get calm. Actually, AI agents can be trained, so they can be very kind, but still people understand it's AI, relax.
Yeah.
But also after midnight, they may not care it because it's actually
They're not, and
expected.
those hours, yeah, they're not expecting a human to answer at those hours. They're expecting to leave a voicemail. So if an AI agent picks up and says, "Oh, I'll get you scheduled right now," they're probably pumped,
Mm,
right? So yeah, yeah, it is funny because at the end of the day, it's still a robot, right? It's still a computer. So you can
yeah.
try to train the AIs, or that right now they can train it as best as they can, but you can still tell.
Yes.
And there's always that weird, awkward pause where you ask it something strange and it's computing something in the background, or like when you talk over it, it just immediately cuts off because you're
Mm.
talking over it. It doesn't know how to handle that. Like how me and you are talking over each other, like we know how to pause and wait. The AI does not know how to do that. And it's a little awkward, but yeah. But after hours and weekends, I don't think it really matters. Who knows?
And what about the generations of your customers? So there are new generations, they prefer texting or just maybe talking to an AI agent over the chat window. And also there's some older generations, they are just looking for talking to real people. How do you handle? So how do you create an omni-channel for them?
Yeah, the thing that we see, I think, is that, yeah, you're right. Like the younger generations, they just want to go on our website and use our chat or text in or fill out a form because you can schedule your call on our website if you wanted to. It's definitely the older generations that are picking up the phone and calling more.
Mhm.
I think they have an expectation to hear a human or to talk to a human, especially when they're having a bad day. What we still see is the way the world is going, homeowners, so we're mostly residential, homeowners are mostly older. They're
Mm.
mostly 35 and above. You don't see a
Mm.
whole lot of homeowners that are young and understanding it. We're mostly dealing with older people.
Mm.
We still have a lot of people that just want to pick up the phone and make a call.
Got it. So the technicians are safe in the AI era as long as the robots are not coming soon. So
Yep.
because they still need to be trained, but it's very hard to train the robots because they don't have enough
Yeah,
data. But nowadays, the cognitive things like the white collars or just intellectual jobs, they are in danger.
they are.
And so probably you are just blessed just having a business in this area, but also AI is replacing people in the office. And you just actually told a little bit about you're using half of the people now in the office. And what's your expectation? So will it be more AI over there, or is it just still an assistant tool for the people?
Yeah, so I think for now it'll just be an assistant tool for my
Mm.
team. Is I'm a millennial, so I grew up in the instant gratification era. So
Mm.
when I come into this business, in the beginning I would have an idea and I would expect that my idea is going to play out, it's going to be fully adopted and everybody's going to jump on board and it's going to be great, right? That was always my expectation when I had an idea or I wanted to implement something. I've learned over the last couple of years that things take a lot longer than you expect. So with the AI voice agent in particular, I really want to be careful with how quick I roll it out and make sure that we take it through the step-by-step process of the nights, the weekends, and then eventually overflow because I don't want to get ahead of myself, get out in front of my skis and start cutting people and then realize, oh, this isn't working. We're losing jobs because people are calling in wanting to talk to a human and they're getting an agent that's screwing everything up. So I don't see us cutting. We've cut as best I think we possibly can for now, but it's definitely a tool. I feel like my team can get a lot more done, especially like just there's things that you can ask it where you can get an answer back where we would have had to reach out to a vendor or an insurance agent or something just for a simple answer. And now at least it can lead us to the right direction and we can keep our day moving, right? So maybe we're still required to reach out to such person, but at least we have a thought process and we can keep rolling with something. Yeah, for right now, I just think it's a great tool in your tool belt. I think my managers are better managers because of it. My CSRs are better CSRs because of it. My field technicians are definitely better field technicians because of it, because now they have a great another tool in their tool belt that if they run into an issue, they might not have to call tech support. They can maybe chat with an AI bot. And even though it might not tell them exactly what's wrong with something that they're trying to diagnose, it asks you questions and can lead you down the road that you need to go down, or at least tell
Mm.
you, like, oh, you're having this problem. Maybe first back up and start with this. And then that can lead them to the place that they're trying to get to, right? It can take them through a diagnostic process. So, yeah, there's things that we would do manually that are much more automated now, figuring out sizes of gas pipe, electrical wire, like all sorts of things that you can just plug in and get your answers back. So, yeah, as it is right now, it's a really long winded way to say it's a really good tool for our tool belt for right now. Down the road, who
And
knows?
yeah, so down the road, what's your expectation about where will the AI make the most impact in your business and where do you see the opportunity from both the efficiency and the revenue side?
Yeah, I really think it's just being able to do more with less, right? I think our costs are going to continue to come down and our revenue is going to continue to increase because we're so much more efficient. And I think we're just scratching the surface. I think we'll continue to be a lot more efficient. One of the things I love, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning, I love new construction. I just love the collaboration that goes into it, right? So it starts with the foundation and then the framer
Mm.
comes in, and then once it's framed and sheathed, then we can come in and we can wire it up and plumb it up and put our HVAC in. I just love seeing all of those steps kind of compound on each other until eventually you get a brand new, beautiful house. But if we can make our process more efficient, so we're not going back for return call, we'll make a lot more money on those projects than we would have. So maybe we can get more of them in. So if one becomes more profitable and we're becoming more efficient, we can get another one in. So yeah, it's already helping us become more efficient. And I think we're just getting started. I think we learn every day new things that we can use it for. So it's been fun. It's been really fun to play around with. My wife makes fun of me because I probably talk to it way more than I should. She's opposite. She wants to shut it all off. Like she tells Alexa all the time in my kitchen, like, please do not try to have a conversation with me. Just answer my questions. Because Alexa always wants to be like, she'll ask it, what time's the baseball game? And then Alexa will say 7 o'clock. And then she'll say, are you planning on watching the game? And my wife will be like, why do you care? You're just a thing. Quit talking to me. And I'm like, she's just being nice.
So are you talking to your wife? Okay, AI and I did this thing today. AI and I have this one. Is she
Yeah.
jealous about that one?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
So same actually for me. So yeah,
That's
probably it will be in our life more involved. Yeah, we will
sure.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon Musk was on Rogan probably about a year ago, and Rogan asked Elon, where do you see this all going? Like, are we doomed or are we entering into utopia? And he was like, 50-50. And he definitely tends to lean more towards, hey, this is going to push us into utopia. And I will say, when I listened to that podcast, I was like, man, I don't see it, dude. I think we're doomed. I think these robots are coming and they're taking all of our jobs and we're all screwed. But the more that I use it and the more time that it frees up for me in
Mm,
other areas of my life and my job, the more I'm like, man, maybe he was right. I feel myself trending more in that direction to say it's a good tool. And if you use it properly, right, you can't stop thinking. You can't let it think for you. It's a tool, it's an assistant, it's something to come along and help you with your job or help you with a problem, not solve your problem for you, but just to help. So I think as it becomes ever more in our lives, I think it'll give us more time to then spend with people, if that makes
mm,
sense. So I think
mm.
we'll have a desire to be with people, but I think we'll also have more time to be with people and to have that human interaction. So that's my glass half full outlook.
Yeah, so business is still there, and you always make business with people. And so AI just spares more time for us. So maybe we can just create more authentic relations and better businesses on top of it. Yeah, TJ, it was a great conversation. I don't know if you want to add something, and also can you tell us how can our listeners find you? How can they reach you?
So I'm not great with the whole technology podcast talking about AI. I'm not great with the whole social media. I am on Instagram, just TJ Laury, Laury 17 is my name. Or you can find Ben's ProServ has an Instagram. You can just hit me up at Ben's ProServ. Email is just my name again, TJ at bensproserv.com. If you have any questions or want to pick my brain on anything, I love a good chat. I love talking shop, whether it's about the new carrier crossover heat pump system or AI or Service Titan or whatever. So yeah, those are probably the two best ways to find me. If it takes me a day or two to get back to you, don't hold that against me.
Okay, thank you so much for the recording.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.